Hi, everybody, and welcome to Percentile Vice. I'm Emily, and over here we've got Steve and we've got John. Tonight we're going to be running a Call of Cthulhu campaign. 1 shot, 2 shot, however many shots it takes you guys to get there.
3 shot, 4 shot.
It's just as long as it takes to get to there.
I was feeling an Eminem song there.
Yeah, 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4. And this is one that I have written for you guys. We are going to be playing my scenario called The Wrecked Temple. So, we start off with the 2 of you and about 4 other people sitting in a small private airport terminal. So this terminal is nicer than airports that you'd normally find. It's got, very nice couches and, sectionals. There's not like the plastic hard seating. It's very well appointed. There are a couple windows looking out onto the tarmac, but not many. Security and baggage claim was very light as you guys came in. It was mostly, one-on-one, and you've only seen about 4 other passengers this whole time. So you and these 4 passengers are all kind of sitting in this waiting area waiting for your plane to arrive. You guys have all been asked to be here because you all have won a contest of some sort that you entered and have won a trip to Morocco, all expenses paid for 1 week. And we're going to start off by giving you guys the floor as you are in the terminal. You can tell us a little bit about your character, what they look like, and any light conversation between you and the other passengers. So, who wants to go first?
I'll be playing Nathaniel Young, New York City police detective. Recently advanced to the rank of detective after being on the streets, beat cop for a long time. This vacation comes at a good time for Nathaniel, as he is recently put on administrative leave after a bit of a dust-up with a suspect he was bringing in. Some wild accusations about excessive force. But, fuck you.
I am playing Bernard Mitchum. He is a very large, basically a tank of a man, and he has a heart defect that caused him to come out of his former career as an archaeologist and become a professor of archaeology. And now he is working as a professor at the University of Sanctimonium. He's a real nice guy.
I think I've seen the football team, the Sanctimonious Bastards.
Yeah. And he is a specialist in Mesoamerican studies and did multiple digs in Panama.
Okay, very cool.
And where was our vacation to again?
You're going to Morocco.
Morocco.
Mm-hmm. In the terminal, you see, like I said, 4 other passengers. You see a young woman. She's very frail, small, petite frame, sitting very upright, and she's...
How you doing?
Fine. And
You win this trip to Morocco too?
Yeah,
I've never been there myself. How about you?
I've never been out of Tennessee. This is my first time.
And you find yourself here in a strange airport in New York, ready to go to Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be the time of your life.
Mm-mm. I'm sorry. I'm so scared of flying. But, I was like, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And, Jasmine, you have to go. You have to go, right? You win it. It's free. You have to go. But I am absolutely terrified.
It's all going to be fine there, Jazzy. Just sit next to me on the plane. If you got to reach over and grab a hold of my arm and squeeze when you get real scared, you go right ahead.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bernard, near you see another older man sitting next to you. He's kind of portly, but he's reading a book that you're very familiar with, a history book.
What was the history book on?
It is a history of... What did you say you specialize in?
Mesoamerica.
Something in that vein, give or take. Maybe a synopsis of some digs done in the area, maybe just some speculatory, applications. It's...
Did I write the book?
Roll me a look.
Give it to me. Be the author.
27 against an 85.
Then yeah, you wrote the book. So you tell me what the book's about.
How the tables
have turned.
Hey, I noticed you're reading that book there.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Have you read it?
I have a few times. As it turns out, I contributed quite a bit to the information inside of it.
Oh, well, that's quite impressive. Well, what's your name? Maybe I've heard of you.
Bernard Mitchum.
Oh, geez, that's his picture on the back of the book. Looky here.
And he flips it back. He's like, well, it's such a pleasure, Alfred. It's a wonderful Alfred. I absolutely love your work.
Bernard reaches out to shake hands, and the man doesn't notice, but his hand is engulfed by Bernard's hand. It's so much bigger than his, but Bernard has a very soft handshake.
Yeah,
he's very
he
cognizant
takes your hand,
of that.
gives you a firm, double handshake. He's like, it is such a pleasure to meet you. I have so many questions. And he starts flipping through the book and showing you and highlights and all these things that he's looked in your book. And some of it is, stuff that you can easily explain. Some of it's just more like a, why did you choose to go this route kind of deal? It's all very surface level. He's not asking you any major theories, but more about, small choices or small wordings that you've done. Nothing too. You can tell he may not have a firm grasp on the entirety of your content here. He may be reading it as either trying to get into the content or he just likes to look really smart. You're not sure, but you definitely get the impression, given that it's your content, he doesn't grasp it.
Well, Bernard is very much the kind of guy that he enjoys teaching and he enjoys the subject. So he is going to be carefully trying to explain better the things that are coming out of this guy's mouth that aren't quite right and gently correcting the assumptions he's making. And they're going to have a nice conversation for a little while and it'll be nice.
As you're talking to Miss Jasmine.
Oh, geez, Tennessee, look at us over here like you weren't nervous enough. We got a semi-famous author right here on the plane with us.
Oh.
Gonna be on the plane with us.
I
mean, you got Tennessee, you got Morocco, you got airplanes, and now you got a famous author. It's a wonder you can keep yourself together. Jeez.
I'm not. And you can see she's visibly panicking. She's turning paler by the moment. She's beginning to sweat a little bit. Like she's looking pretty worse for wear at this point. I mean, she's holding it together, but she is a jittery mess. A young man sits across
I'm going to hand
from
her
you.
my handkerchief. So you got a little bit of a glisten there, Missy.
She'll gratefully take it. Oh, thank you. She'll start patting away her brow and goes to hand it back to you, and it is noticeably wet.
Keep that. You'll need it for the rest of the trip there, Tennessee.
Oh, thank you. A young man sits down in the sectional with you, but kind of off to the side, not too close. He's got a very kind of swaggerish, he kind of spreads his legs and leans down on one elbow. He's like, so you guys won the contest too? Is that you?
That's right.
Oh, well, Evan, it's nice to meet you.
Evan. As in like Evan Williams. It's a Tennessee whiskey, I believe. You probably heard of it there, Jazzy. Hey, Evan, it's nice to meet you. Nate Young.
Yeah, Evan Josie, yeah. And he reaches for your hand and he gives you one of those, I'm trying to show you how strong I am, where he like really just forcefully goes in for it and like does like the full grasp, way more than necessary.
Yeah, and I'm not going to let that pass, and I'm going to squeeze as hard back. In fact, I really love this to be a contested roll.
It is going to be a contested strength roll. So go ahead. I'm going to roll for Evan. See who breaks.
A success on my part.
It's a success on his part too. What was yours? Just a standard success? His was a standard success.
Standard success.
Okay. So
we got ourselves a Bronx showdown here.
Mm-hmm. And you definitely hear a twinge of some kind of New York accent. It's not quite as strong as yours, but it's definitely there. There's a little twinge to it. And after a moment of you guys kind of having this like standoff, he finally, he's like, New York, right? Let me guess. Bronx.
Yeah, Bronx.
Yeah.
Kind of towards Flatbush.
Oh yeah. I've been down there. You can tell he has no idea what you're talking about. He's very blatantly.
He didn't stay long, I can tell.
I lived there when I was a kid, and then we moved down south to Atlanta. So it is what it is. But yeah, New York born, definitely not raised, but born. Yeah, I'm so stoked. Like I've never had something like this happen to me. It's super super crazy. He's very young, early 20s, strapping young man, very well built, but not overly muscular, but just solidly built for his stature. And then the last person that sits with you is a gentleman, middle-aged, kind of keeping to himself. Seems to be just kind of scrolling his phone, just doom scrolling. Hasn't really made an opportunity to introduce himself, but nothing about him is super outstanding. He just seems average. He's wearing like a polo and jeans, middle-aged, decently fit, but just kind of sitting back, doom scrolling on his phone. He hasn't really said anything to anyone aside for the occasional little look of the white person's what's up, with the awkward smile and the little head nod. Yeah. So, what would you guys like to do while you wait? You know that you're waiting for them to get your plane together. You have all your baggage. It has not been sent off through baggage claim. This is a very small private airport, so it's all very informal, as it were. There's not really even much staff around.
I'm gonna look at the guy who just came in and say, "Hey, so we all have taken an opportunity to get to know each other. This is Jazzy Jasmine from Tennessee. The kid over there, that's Evan. Winter's here. There's a good professor over there. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't catch your name, and I can't see the book right now. So
it's Bernard.
Bernard, yeah, Professor Bernard over there. Actually, an accomplished author, and you'll find Alfred over there reading his book. Who might you be?
Leslie Richards. Yeah, I won the trip too. Yeah, just kind of big on Twitter. Wanted in a Twitter giveaway. How did you win?
Yeah, just filling out little forms. You're like going into the local bodega. You're getting in. The guy says, "Here, buy this pack of cigarettes. Instead, you get a free entry." And I was like, "Okay, what the hell? Just give me my smokes." You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, here I am heading to Morocco. I'm Nate, by the way, Nate Young.
Oh, I guess a pleasure to meet you, Nate. Bernard, you know that you entered this contest through almost like a publisher's clearinghouse, something that came to your residence. That you either on a whim decided you wanted to do, or somebody convinced you to. Who knows? But you know that it came through the mail for you. Evan pops up. He's like, actually, I won this at a billiards tournament. Like, it was a big billiards tournament. Like, we were shooting pool, and it was the prize. And little Jasmine's like, I liked and subscribed on a YouTube video, and I was the winner of the. Is it common for sweepstakes to give them out in all different ways? Is that normal? That doesn't seem normal.
It's a global economy nowadays. I mean, look, you're from Tennessee. Evan over here's from Atlanta. I'm from New York. They're everywhere and all things. It's called marketing. Multi-platform stuff. You get a little older, you'll learn these things.
Oh okay. Thank you. And Alfred pops up. He's like, "Oh yes, I won this through a company raffle. I purchased a ticket and was chosen. It was quite unexpected, but it was nice. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to it. It's never been to Morocco. I've been to other countries, but not Morocco. So I'm looking forward to it.
I've heard there are some great ruins.
Oh, we should definitely, if you'd be willing, to go to look at them. Casually, of course, not anything formal.
Of course,
yeah, certainly. And he begins to just kind of verbally just vomit just things he wants to do at the ruins, but trying to not impose upon you too much. But he's like, we could take pictures, we maybe dig something if you want to dig, and he's just going. And after about 10-15 more minutes of you guys kind of casually chatting and looking up, a nice lovely young lady in a stewardess outfit, a very nice stewardess outfit, mind you, comes up. She's like, "All right, everybody, the plane is ready."
How you doing?
I'm doing well, Mr. Nathaniel. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. If you'll please grab your things and follow me through the boarding gate. And she kind of waits for you guys all to get your things together and walks you through this nice little lovely gate too.
So I'm on the way to the boarding gate. Mm-hmm. I'm looking to see if there's like a metal detector to walk through or anything.
There is not.
I am glad.
Mm-hmm. They did definitely give you some, talks at the beginning about things you couldn't take on the plane. I'm guessing you ignored them, given that.
I was not really paying much attention, to be honest. I'm sure what they said. So I know nobody's told me I couldn't, nobody's tried to take anything off of me, so I figured it must be allowed.
Yeah, there's been little to no searching. There was some rudimentary checks of your bags, But as far as a personal search or any, metal detectors, x-rays, none of that. This is all very posh, high-end furnishings, not a whole lot of technological scanning going on. So she takes you out onto this hangar bay. The gate leads out onto a hangar bay instead of what you would typically see in most airports, which is, the tunnel that leads to your plane. It leads you into a hangar bay. And in the bay, there's some people walking around, in their reflective vests and pushing carts and things like that. About 4 or 5 young men come running up and start taking y'all's bags and giving you slips and starting to load them onto this small passenger personal jet. With a large staircase leading up into it. And the young stewardess is like, okay, single file up the stairs, please. And ushers you onto the plane.
Okay.
So the plane itself is elegant. It is well appointed. There are, these lush big chairs with tables in between and these like seats of 4. And there's 2 of them back to back. There's like a very nice mixing bar to one side. There's TVs on either end. It's very, very nice.
Jeez, Professor, it don't look like this in O'Malley's. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we're walking here and shoes aren't sticking to the floor. Nothing.
No, I've never been on a plane quite this nice.
Yeah, and it appears to be very nice. Wood paneling with, that kind of gold trim that runs around it. And the stewardess begins to kind of usher you to your seats and does a small presentation about safety, obviously, of seat belts and things like that. Now, we don't have any overhead, lighted displays as you may be accustomed to that will tell you when you can and cannot take off your seatbelts, but I will be letting you know as you may do so. And she goes through the safety routine of the drop downs and all of these things and points to all these cabinets that are going to drop down your air masks and, exits to the front and the rear of the plane. She goes through the whole spiel. She's like, okay, we'll be taking off in about 30 minutes. We're allowing the captain some time to do some checking of the weather and a few other things. So please make yourself comfortable, and I'm going to begin serving refreshments in just a few minutes. So just give us a moment, okay? And she leaves you to your own devices in your chairs. So who do you want to sit with?
I'm going to escort Tennessee Jasmine to a window seat. Trust me, when you get a little more comfortable, you're gonna like looking out at the clouds and the water and everything. It's really soothing. You sit there. I'll sit right here next to you. Everything's gonna be fine.
And she's shaking the whole way. She gets to the window and she looks out and she's looking right out over the wing. And you see her just kind of look up at you and then just kind of very carefully with a shaky hand pull the shade down. And she's like, I appreciate everything that you've done. It's very, very, very kind of you. And begins kind of settling her things and pulling out like a book and maybe, some anti-nausea pills. Like she's come prepared for this flight with like a neck pillow, and she's not got any of it on her, but she's kind of set out on the table in front of her, just like anything you could possibly need for a flight. Who are you going to sit with?
I'm going to just take the first available seat that I see.
Okay. So that puts you in kind of one of the 4 table seats with Evan and Leslie, and Alfred follows you and sits directly across from you. So it's you and Jasmine in one 4 seat, and then Leslie, Evan, you, and Alfred in the other 4 seats. So you've got about 30 minutes before we're supposed to take off. What would you like to do in that time?
I think I'd have a scotch and probably some brown liquor for the lady here. Probably bourbon, right? Tennessee bourbon.
Yeah. That would be fine.
Well, rocks and maybe some Coke with that, or just.
I guess I don't really drink at all. So, however it's supposed to come, I don't.
Yeah, this is a great time to start there, Jazzy. So I'll order a couple drinks from the stewardess.
And the stewardess provides, and she brings, which you can tell is probably some kind of watered down bourbon. She probably heard the whole interaction, and she doesn't want the young lady's first attempt at alcohol to be full flavored bourbon. She understands, and she kind of gives you like a little knowing nod of, this will help her settle down, but it's not the good stuff. Anything else that y'all want to do in your 30-minute wait time?
I'm going to pull out a book that I've acquired on the various histories of Morocco and the archaeological digs there.
Certainly. And you find several different things that look promising. Every time that you kind of like either dog ear a page or make a little, intrigued. Alfred is like a hawk across the table. Oh yeah, we could definitely go see those. Those would be wonderful. I've read, and he just it feels like every time you turn a page, Alfred is just right there in your face talking about it. It's almost distracting, but he's very, very pleased that you are on this flight. Okay, anything else?
Okay. No, I'm just gonna be fiddling around with things like, the tray table down, the tray table up, the seatbelts, adjusting it, and looking for the little headphone jack,
I gotcha.
Just totally.
Yeah, and it's appointed with chargers and everything that you could want.
If there's a cabinet that opens, I'm opening it. If there's a little cubby that flips up, I'm done. Just like everything.
Certainly. Make me a
chair. Yeah.
Make me a spot hidden. I think it's a big old failure.
Yeah, it is.
So 98. That's pretty bad. It feels like, you start digging through things, and every time that you open something, poor Jasmine kind of starts. Every click, every tick, every, groan of something moving, she just kind of jumps, and you realize after a point that you're causing her a lot of distress with all of your movements, and so you begin to kind of just chill out a minute because you realize you're really sending this girl into a tizzy. And as she's finishing up her little bit, a middle-aged man, salt and pepper hair, very good-looking, very broad-shouldered, tall, well-built man comes out, and he's like, all right, everybody, so we're flying to Morocco today. Trip should take us in 8 hours, 9 hours. I honestly did not look up how long it takes to fly to Morocco. Don't judge me. And he says, okay, so be sure you follow the stewardess's guidelines. If she tells you to sit down, you sit down. Buckle up, you buckle up. If she tells you can unbuckle, you can unbuckle. She's the boss. She's the boss of me. She's the boss of you. Don't let her niceness fool you. She's the boss. All right? And he kind of looks all of you over for a visual, you got me?
Yeah.
All right. So, you need anything? Talk to her. There will be no coming to see the captain or coming to see the cockpit. There will be none of that. We're all adults here. There's just a bunch of buttons and lights. So don't ask to come up there and see what I'm doing. It's not worth it. Okay? And you can all tell he's just not about this today. He does not want to deal with it. He doesn't want to do the showmanship. Nothing. Like, his tie's a little loose. His shirt's not, like, pristinely tucked in. Like, he's just not about this today.
Gee, Jazzy, it's like we all won something. I think he lost the contest. which one of these poor pilots has to settle these guys over to Morocco? And this poor sucker got the short straw.
Yeah, he does. He seems angry or upset or irritated. Did I do something?
No, it wasn't you. He's having a bad day, but he appears to be all business. I think we're in fine hands. Don't worry about it.
I don't know how I feel about the man driving the plane having a bad day, but okay, if you say we're in good hands.
I can tell he's the kind of guy that a bad day just gets him focused. Hard work. It's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You can tell she's really trying to sell herself on this theory. It's not working currently, but she's trying to be like, yeah, nope, everything's fine. But she's still just a shaking little leaf in the wind. And the pilot looks at y'all and he's like, all right, if nobody else has anything they need to do, we're going to get this bird in the air. And he whirls around and heads to the cockpit, shuts the door. And after a few moments of different sounds and clicking and lights, you feel the plane begin to kind of back up and about turn and start creeping down the runway. And after what feels like an eternity on the runway of just kind of being shuttled about, there's no other planes on the tarmac. Why you kept being told to stop at all these things as you look out the window, you're not really sure, but it feels like that's just what they do with planes. They're like, oh no, you can't just take off. You're going to stand there and you're going to wait. And finally, you're able to take off, and once you guys reach cruising altitude, your stewardess gets up. She's like, okay, you are free to move about the cabin. Cabin.
That may have been Freudian.
Freudian. The cabin. And the restrooms are to the rear, should you so choose. And we'll be having a light dinner in about 2 hours. So, until then, please make yourselves at home. And she goes to some kind of little cordoned off area towards the back with a little curtain and shuts it. And you guys are free to move about the cabin.
How you doing, Tennessee?
I'm...
you could take that seatbelt off now if you want to.
I think I think I'm going to leave it on for just a little while longer.
All right, well, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go back and hit the little boys' room for a second. But I don't know. I noticed you're still a little shaky. Are you cold? You want me to bring you back a blanket or something? I think they got some back there.
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you.
All right, well, you just sit tight. Everything's feeling. It's nice and comfortable, smooth. We got us a good pilot up there.
Yeah. So you're gonna head back to the restroom. Okay. The restroom is very nice and spacious for a plane. Honestly, it is. You can turn all the way around in it, which is amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna pee.
Thank you for that.
And then I'm gonna, there's probably a little mirror and different things. If there's something that can be twisted and clicked, like the occupied sign and all that, it's just my nature. I just fiddling with things.
Okay, spot hidden.
That's a success.
Okay. So as you're fiddling with things, you notice that a lot of these are pretty stiff. As nice and new as this plane looks, these knobs don't seem to have been used much. The mirror is a bit stiff when it, because it like kind of folds out on an arm. It's stiff. The occupied unoccupied is a little stiff. Like it doesn't seem like it's seized up by any means, but it just like the first time you use something and it has that kind of first give to it, everything feels like you're the first person to have ever moved it.
It's oddly satisfying to Nathaniel.
It is the pristine clicks of things.
It's just actually expanding his normal little personality tick of fiddling with things, because everything in here that could be fiddled with has never been fiddled with before, and I get to be the
New
first
frontier.
fiddler.
First fiddler.
So basically, I'm in the bathroom fiddling.
Very nice.
Fiddling hard.
So while Nathaniel's fiddling in the bathroom, what are you doing?
I'm still reading.
Okay. Make me a listen roll.
That is a 96. Now let's roll down and see that my listen I put no points into. So with it being under 50, that 96 is a fumble.
So
right?
I think it's 96 and above.
Yeah.
I'll say it is. It's going to be fun anyway, because what I want to happen here is like your ears are like need popping really bad, but you can't figure out how to do it.
So I'll give you the option. You can either have that happen, or you could have put earbuds in at some point, like noise canceling little things, because Alfred was bothering you so much that now other people are speaking to you, and you really don't want to be awkwardly taking them out and just nodding along, and you don't know what they're saying to you. So that's your choice.
That sounds more like actual me, than my character, so I'll take the first one.
Boys.
Smile and nod, boys. Yeah, so you reach a point, and you normally, when you fly, you don't have much of a problem with your ears popping, but I guess maybe just the humidity in here or something else with your, body. It's just, your ears are just bursting with pressure at this point, because it's just like, God, and you're just doing that thing where you put one finger in your ear and you're trying to like shake it loose, and Alfred's like, is it yours? Hold on. And he like jumps up and starts digging through pockets and pulling out carry-ons and like dumps a bag out in front of you, and he's hunting. He's like, I have chewing gum around here somewhere, I'm sure of it. Just hold tight, and begins
good man, hurry.
Very much fussing over you, to the point where like Evan and Leslie are just like looking at each other like, what the actual fuck? And like you see Evan kind of mouth under his breath, he's like, bro crush, and like he's just fussing over you. He eventually does find you some gum, and you can chew it if you choose so to clear.
I'll chew it.
Okay. So you've cleared out your ears. Are you done fiddling in the bathroom?
I am. And when I come out, is the stewardess at the back of the plane, or is she up in the front of the plane?
She is. So just behind the bathroom, there is a curtain partition, and she disappeared behind that previously. So she, as far as you're aware, is still behind that curtain.
And right outside the bathroom, is there like a little galley area, where they...
So there's some cabinetry.
Yeah,
that's all closed.
Start opening I'm looking for a blanket for
Certainly.
Tennessee. And not making any attempts to do it quietly or whatever. I fully expect that the stewardess is going to come out and say, those are my cabinets. You're not supposed to touch them.
Okay. So you open the first cabinet, which is up top, and it's a smaller cabinet, and there's nothing in the cabinet.
Okay.
You open the middle cabinet, which is the largest of the cabinets. It's like a small one on the top and bottom, and then a large cabinet. And it is also completely empty.
So this is striking me as odd. So I'm going to start opening every cabinet and drawer or whatever, just like fast. Like, why is it there? Shouldn't there be like stuffs?
Mm-hmm. So you get through.
Geez.
You get through about. Well, let me see how many you get through. You get through about 2 more completely empty cabinets and drawers before the curtain. You hear that pulling of a curtain rod, and it shuts very quick. Sir, is there something that I can help you find?
Yeah, just looking for a blanket for Miss Jasmine up there. She's kind of shivering a little bit. Says she's cold. I think she's just still a little nervous about things, but the blanket would be helpful for her. So,
well, we keep those back here. She reaches out and kind of pushes the cabinet that you're holding kind of shut, and she's like, I'll be happy to bring her one. I even have some heated ones to make sure she's comfortable. If you take a seat, I'll be bringing it for her, okay?
All right, geez. So, just trying to help out here. But
I appreciate it, but that would
this
be
is an 9-hour trip, right? Shouldn't there be stuff? I mean...
Oh, well, we are a well-appointed private plane, but, these planes are built for multiple passengers, and we just didn't need all this extra space. It's purely, should you need other things. If you have additional carry-ons or things like that, they can also be stored in this area.
All right, well, geez, just, like a blanket for Miss Jasmine. That'd be great.
Certainly, sir. And she disappears behind the curtain. Give me a spot hidden.
That's a failure.
Okay. So do you want to return to your seat, or are you going to stay and wait for her to come back from the camera?
I'm going to start making my way back up to my seat, but I'm going to stop at the foretop. Mm-hmm. So I'm picturing 2 sets of 2 seats facing each other, mm-hmm. with a nice mahogany table in the middle, mm-hmm. and
very much like Air Force One kind of looking.
Yeah, you fellas, how's it going back here?
Can I hear again? Okay. It's going pretty good. Had some ear popping going on, but...
Oh, geez, that's the worst, man. And it used to happen to me all the time. If I didn't, you could just kind of like yawn really big, or like have you ever tried just closing your nose and then like blowing real hard? And
no, I haven't.
Yeah, that works sometimes too. But yeah, sorry to hear about that. This is quite the plane, isn't it, fellas? I mean, look at this, man. It's like we're freaking Elon Musk or something here.
Very swanky.
Evan pipes up, yeah, we're balling, man. It's great.
Yeah. But, they got, just look at this place. But, I don't know, I think we might be the first people on this, on the whole plane ever. I'm serious. Like, you see that little drawer there next to you on the armrest?
Yeah.
Flip it open.
He flips it open.
See how stiff that was? Like it never been opened before.
Stiff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It was pretty stiff.
I mean, look at those. Look at your seatbelt. Look at the thing. Like, see the metal part there?
Yeah.
See any scuff marks where it's been in and out of the seatbelt thing before?
Nah, bro, it's super shiny.
No, it is. I think we're the first ones on this plane. I didn't even think they got it all the way stocked up. Bunch of empty cabinets and drawers back there. It's strange. Jeez.
Alfred pipes up. He's like, which cabinets were empty?
Oh, back there by the commode there.
And you see a moment where Alfred kind of thinks and processes and kind of shakes the thought off. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was looking for a blanket for the miss up there, and yeah, nothing, man. But the waitress, I'm sorry, I'm just stewardess, right? We're probably not even supposed to call him that anymore, right? It's probably like flight attendant, I think is the way they say it.
From behind you here, stewardess will do just fine.
Oh, thanks, miss. You got that blanket for...
I do, and she hands you a pristine, very nice, warm blanket.
Oh, geez, you weren't lying about heated. All right, well, hey, fellas, you guys enjoy your flight. Now we got 8 hours. Come see us up here if you want to. And I'll walk up to to Miss Jasmine. I will unfold the blanket and lay it over her.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel. That was very, very kind of you. I do feel much better now, actually. You kind of see her just take this sigh of like something about the blanket is very soothing for her, and she kind of settles down for a moment. She's like, I apologize. I have been very much a wreck. I don't deal well with new situations and new stressors. I'm trying to branch out of myself, but every time I do, it just feels like it's gonna like...
Yeah, but look at you now. You're doing great. You're 30,000 feet in the air, flying at crazy speeds, like nothing between you and the ground but a bunch of sheet metal. Oh, I am so sorry. Hey, look, we got a couple hours for dinner. You got a nice heated blanket. Why don't you just like kick back a little bit, take you a little nap? I'll make sure we wake you up before the dinner gets served. That'd be really comforting, don't you think?
I think I'll just read for a little bit and see if that helps settles me. And she kind of picks up her book and nestles down in her blanket and begins to read.
And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to pull out my flip phone and start playing Snake.
Nice. T9 flip phone. Epic. Over at your table, you see that Alfred still kind of has this puzzled look, like he's kind of working through something. He's stopped commenting on a lot of what you're doing. The occasional chiming in, oh yeah, that I've heard that's very nice, and then he kind of just goes back to thinking and looking off towards the stewardess area.
Still gonna be reading.
Okay, certainly. Anything y'all want to do before we move on to dinner time?
Just one outburst. Oh, geez, come on! I hit the up arrow there. Come on. I'm sorry, Miss.
I haven't played Snake in the longest time. That is, how old is that phone?
Hey, this thing never breaks. So I can, go since replacing it, right? I don't need all those bells and whistles nowadays.
I guess so. It must be a very simplistic having not all this technology in your pocket constantly screaming at you all day. Mine is constantly going off. My job is constantly... I've got it on silent right now, but I can feel it just a buzzing away.
Did you say back at the terminal, what is your job?
Oh, I'm a secretary at a business law firm. So we deal with business.
Like Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? Sorry, it's a lawyer joke. Never mind.
Yeah, but my boss told me it was good to take some time off, and yet is still texting me and emailing me and forwarding me things constantly. So
hey, put the thing on airplane mode, and you can tell me you were in the air.
Yeah.
Get some rest from that.
Yeah.
And then when we get to Morocco, tell them there weren't any cell towers. Just turn the thing off.
Okay, I think I will do that. And she pulls out her phone and sets it to airplane mode and kind of very triumphantly sets it face down and looks a little proud of herself that she's, going unplugged from work. And then there's a moment where she kind of thinks of the repercussions of what she's going to come back to and then just kind of shakes it off like, nope, we're not going to think about that. Okay. So after a couple hours of everybody's kind of settled down now, everybody's kind of moved on to their own individual tasks, doing crosswords or flipping on their phones or doing whatever. The stewardess brings out a light dinner, which is just like some chicken breasts, some nice potatoes, and some kind of vegetable. Nothing too fancy, but for airplane food, it's decent. Like it's hot, it's well cooked, not particularly salty or seasoned, but what?
Airplane food, am I right?
Airplane food, am I right? Both of you make me a spot hidden.
Poof, you're a spot hidden. Hard success.
Nice.
19, I believe, will be a hard success for me as well. What's 69 divided by 5?
12.2.
So yeah, hard.
Okay.
Feel free to pull out your calculator.
No, I trusted you.
It was actually 12.1.
Well, he rolled better than you, and his is higher than you, so I assumed that it was a hard success. I just couldn't see it because of my mic. Okay, so with hard success, you both know that the plates appear to be very well-to-do plates, but they're kind of cheap knockoffs. They have no markings of use. No utensil scratches, no chips, nothing. All of your utensils appear to be very nice, but are kind of cheap knockoffs. Something that's intended to look nice, but isn't.
It's like you bought the heavy stuff at Walmart.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But you're noticing everything that you've been given. The cloth napkin it's intended to look very high end, but it's all rather cheap. But it's all completely unused. There's not a stain. There's not a thread out of place. Nothing on everything that's been put in front of you. Salt and pepper shakers, everything.
Hey, Jazzy, I don't know if you heard me telling the guys behind us here, but I think this is the first time anybody's been on. We are the first people to ride on this plane. Look at all of this stuff. That plate you're on, it's never been used, right? You see the little blue trim, you know how it gets. There would be little scratches on that. Yeah. Look at your silverware. Not even a water spot from being. These things never been washed before. It's brand freaking new.
Yeah, I did notice earlier my blanket had none of the little pills, from them being washed. Right. It seems brand new. It's I mean, I guess that's nice. Having the new things, I suppose. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm just noticing.
Yeah. As long as, everything has been tested and secured and, we have all the supplies and things, the parachutes and all of the other things. As long as it's all there, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. And she kind of is working herself up, but then trying to work herself back down. But yeah, you guys ate dinner that's pretty good. It's decent.
Better than hot dogs and spinach.
Better than hot dogs and spinach. Definitely.
As a lover of both hot dogs and spinach, having never tried hot dogs and spinach,
cannot compare.
I'm not sure how to come down on this particular issue, but
That's
okay.
True. Okay, so Alfred, make me another listen check. Not Alfred. I'm sorry, Bernard. I was thinking about Alfred.
Alfred's sitting there in the chair next to Bernard going, what? What?
That's a fail.
There's a voice talking to me.
Even on a fail, you hear some slight mumbling coming from Alfred. You can't tell what he's saying, but you can hear he's pushed his food away and he's kind of working on some kind of piece of paper and he's kind of mumbling to himself.
Hey, Alfred, you all right?
Yeah, come with me. Come with me for a moment. I apologize, but I just want to talk to you over here for just a moment. He kind of ushers, points towards the front of the plane where the pilot's door is shut, opposite of the steward's little galley.
I'll go with him.
Were you paying any attention to the safety briefing that we were given?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that the stewardess said that all the parachutes and the safety precaution gear were in the cabinets at the rear across from the bathrooms. The same cabinets that young Nathaniel man said were completely empty. Now, it could just be old age, kind of getting the best of me, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard her say. And he's saying that they're empty and that it's been tooling around in my mind. And I guess I just needed to hear from somebody else that it's probably nothing. And I trust your opinion so much, sir. I don't want to seem like a nervous Nancy, but I'm feeling a little at ease. I mean,
well, they obviously have other cupboards somewhere that they got the blanket from. I imagine that's where they have the things.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right. I'm probably making nothing out of this. Like I said, it struck in my brain. I couldn't get it out, but now that I've gotten it out, I feel a little better. I appreciate your consultation on this, sir. I very much so appreciate it. Thank you. I apologize for pulling you from your dinner. And he kind of motions you to return to the table.
I'll return to the table.
Okay. Do you want to make a listen check to see if you hear any of that?
That is a hard success, 26 under 60.
Yeah, so you definitely hear all of that.
Yeah, it's my police training. They go up towards the front of I just can't help but be interested.
Yeah.
What are these guys conspiring about?
So it piques your interest when they get up and do something, go to an area of the plane that they have no real reason to be in.
Which, by the way, an area of the plane I've been dying to go to.
Right.
Because there are clicks and clacks that haven't been had up there yet.
Exactly. And you hear Alfred explaining his concerns about the safety briefing and the fact that she indicated that all of the parachutes and safety equipment in the event of any kind of disaster would be located in those cabinetry.
Well, when I hear that part, I'm just going to get up and join them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't paying any attention during that safety brief. It's always the same old schmeal every time. But she said we were in those cabinets back there. Now, there's a curtained off area, so maybe there's another set of cabinets she was talking about.
Maybe, but I feel like I heard her say that she did like the whole arm wave thing. She was like, parachutes and safety rafts would be located at the rear of the plane, the cabinets across from the bathroom. I feel like I distinctly remember her saying that.
Oh, you know what we need here?
What?
Some peanuts. And I'll turn and start walking towards the back of the plane.
Okay.
When I get to the back, I'm just going to push the curtain aside, step in and say, hey, geez, can we get some nuts up here or what? And quickly taking a look around.
Okay.
And see what is in this area.
So as you begin to pull this curtain open, the back of the stewardess is to you, but she is very quick. The minute she hears the telltale thing, she begins to spin around. So you have a couple seconds before she grabs the curtain to make me a spot hidden roll to see what you see.
It's just going to be like a hard or something.
It's probably going to be a hard, yeah.
So I need a hard success or better.
You got to get hard for your nuts here.
Gotta get hard for them nuts.
I just got a normal success. In fact, just barely a success.
Okay. So what I will tell you on a success is that you do see that there are some cabinetry in this other room. As far as how much or what they could possibly hold, you weren't able to get a good look because she grabs that curtain about halfway across and very intently steps into your personal space and begins to pull the curtain shut behind her. Sir, I have to ask you to stay out of the stewardess quarters. Is there something that I can get for you?
I would have knocked, but how do you knock on a curtain, right? So I'm sorry. Just we were thinking that some like, after dinner nuts, some snackage up here,
Wonderful idea, sir. I will be right out with
Hey,
that.
we were talking about the safety briefing because, we all paid so much attention to what you were saying. And, I was thinking, you indicated in the safety briefing that, supplies that might be needed in case of an emergency would be located in these cabinets across from the bathroom. But I was just right here, and geez, they're all empty. So, did they forget to stock up this plane? I'm certain it's his first trip, but geez, where's parachutes and stuff like that? I'm saying.
Oh, my apologies. I must have misspoke. That's a pre-written safety briefing that we read out. But I do know that I've seen the parachutes in the cabinetry behind me in the stewardess quarters. But you understand they give us a pre-written one, and we just read it out. My apologies. I'll be sure to amend that in future ratings.
Yeah. So I'd like to put some police detective skills to use here, and just kind of watch her face and body language for, things that I was taught in the academy or indications of lying.
Okay. Well, what kind of role do you want to make me?
I'm thinking psychology.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is a failure, but I think I would like to spend some luck points and buy that down. I need to spend 7 to buy it down to a success.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. So on a success, you can tell that she is very defensive, given your close proximity and what has just occurred with the curtain. By her body language, things like that, she's definitely showing signs of somebody who is trying to maintain her ground without coming off as aggressive. Very customer service, I've already told you, ma'am. And as far as what she's saying, you can tell that there's something in there that's not quite right. Whether it's not right lie or if it's something to the effect of she's trying to give you the most customer service friendly answer to the question you're given. But there's something in there that's not quite right. But you can't tell if it's an outright lie.
Gotcha. Hey, I understand. It's like you're supposed to read the Miranda rights right off of the card, and if you don't read it exactly, I hear you. Okay, I got it. But hey, the nuts, okay. And then I'm going to do the Columbo thing. I'm going to turn and I'm going to start walking back up the alley, the aisle, and I'm going to try to time it so about the time that she opens the curtain, goes back in, that I turn around and go, one more thing, ma'am.
I gotcha.
So that hopefully I can get a little of a look behind there. So
Certainly. So you wait till you hear the rings of the curtain begin to slide, and you're like on a pivot, like on a swivel. The minute you hear that first ring kind of slang against the second one, you pivot around. Make me a spy hidden.
5 under 65 for extreme success.
Nice. So she has like a small countertop with basic stewardess things, an ice box and cups and napkins and things like that. Above her is cabinetry that all has glass fronts, or that kind of like tempered glass. And it seems to hold, snacks and pre-canned sodas and basic food supplies, nothing too serious. You do see one large cabinet along the bottom with 2 doors that kind of open out from each other. It also has that tempered glass. And in there you see like blankets and, maybe some pillows, things like that. But you see no indication of any parachutes, safety equipment, any of that.
Okay. And so my one more thing, excuse me, low sodium if you got them, because the doc says it's, the low salt nuts.
Mm-hmm. You definitely, as you start to talk, see her take a defensive stance in the doorway. Certainly, sir. I'll be right out with it, and shuts the curtain behind her. And in a few minutes, she comes out with various snack nuts and, like little bags of chips and meat sticks, any number of little snacks on like a tray, and offers them to everybody.
I'll grab a couple.
Okay. And anybody else is free to take some. It's inconsequential. She takes her tray back and excuses herself back to the stewardess galley.
Hey, so Alfred and Bernard. Bernard?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Bernard. So I just got a bit of a look back there. There's it's like a galley, like the snacks and some blankets and pillows and stuff. But I didn't see anything look like it was parachutes or holding stuff. I think this is the first trip of this plane, and they forgot to stock it up.
Well,
and she's being real protective about it. Like, she didn't want anybody to know. Like, she noticed that certain things are missing, and now she's trying to play it off.
We could ask if they could bring one out and show Alfred how they were used.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Just to clarify, I do understand how parachutes are. I
right. What we need you to do is act all nervous. Like, I couldn't pull it off now because she's, I've talked to her a few times, and, well, she knows I'm not that type. But, if you kind of put on some nervous airs or whatever, and we say, hey, just, to make this guy feel a little more at ease, how about just showing him?
Oh, well, I'm not much of an actor, but the young lady who's already quivering might be a better choice for the nervous act.
That's not a bad idea. Don't even have to get her to do it. And just tell the stewardess that that's what's going on.
Right.
Is she going to be comfortable getting up and walking back there?
No, we'll call the stewardess to us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm going to go sit down next to Jasmine. She's still awake, still reading?
Yes.
Hey, so, look, I've been back there a couple of times talking to the stewardess, and I don't know, I think she's starting to get a little tired of me. But, here, and I hand her like a little bag of Cheez-Its or something. I got you some of these while we were back there.
Thank you.
But hey, look, would you mind pushing your stewardess call button there? Because I think if I push mine, she's gonna yeah. I think I need like a little Coke or something to go with these peanuts,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's too much trouble, I'll push it for you. You don't mind?
No, it's fine. I just I hate to bother her, but if you need something,
Don't worry. When she gets here, I'll handle her.
Okay. And she reaches up and pushes her little stewardess light. And within a minute or two, you see the stewardess walk out. And she genuinely has this look of like trying to be professional. But it's like, oh, this guy again? Like she's beginning to get just a little irritable with you.
Just follow my lead here.
But
maybe I'll make a few more comments about 30,000 feet, nothing between us and water, but sheet metal and some plastic, so that she's a little worked up when this. Hey, I'm really thanks so much for the snacks and whatnot. But look, my traveling companion here from Tennessee, first time on a plane, she is really nervous right now. And unfortunately, she heard the guys talking about where you said the parachutes were, and now she's worried that there aren't any parachutes on this. And like, geez, I'm like, hey, nothing I can do will calm her down. So I was thinking if you could just like bring one of the parachutes up here, show her that we've got them on, and it will put her mind at rest. She'll be able to sleep and rest for the rest of the journey, and everything will be fine. So if you could just, just go grab one, bring it up here so she could see it, maybe put her fingers on it, calm her down a little bit.
Miss Jasmine, I do apologize that you're feeling distress at this moment. We don't particularly like to take them out of the cabinet because it can be difficult to store them back, but I'd be happy to walk you back there, Miss Jasmine, if you'd like. And you can see Jasmine is on near hyperventilating status because you have just bomb dropped her that there could be no parachutes in this plane. She's like, don't
worry, I got you, ma'am. And I will kind of help lift her up out of and make it obvious that I'm coming with her.
And the stewardess looks at you, and then she looks at Jasmine. She's like, "Ma'am, are you feeling okay? You look like and you look a little like you're going to be sick. Do you need to use the lavatory?" And Jasmine's like, she's like, I think maybe we take a quick pit stop to take care of maybe imminent danger to the carpeting, and then we'll check them out. And she kind of gives you the gesture of, this is a ladies only trip.
Well played.
And begins to walk Jasmine to the lavatory. And it's spacious enough that she can actually accompany Jasmine into this lavatory, and they spend probably a good...
I'm going to turn and look at the four guys sitting there. What? It was lady things. What was it? I couldn't... What?
They spend about 10 minutes in the lavatory. Jasmine comes out, and she looks a little calmer, but the stewardess kind of pulls the curtain and ushers her aside into it, and then shuts the curtain behind her. And they're gone for probably a good 30 minutes. It takes a while. But from what you know of Jasmine probably had 1,001 questions, and it's probably being talked off of every ledge possible. Anything you want to do in that 30-minute time span while you're waiting for Miss Jasmine to finish her introductory course to parachutes?
I'm an absolute cad, a heel, and I hate myself for it. But I'm going to check out Jasmine's belongings while she's back there.
Certainly. So she has a book, a neck pillow. She's got anti-nausea meds. She's got anti-headache meds. She's got chewing gum. She's got earbuds. She has all brand new. Everything is sealed in its packaging. It looks like she read some travel guide of what you need to bring on a plane and brought everything. And it's all well packaged and labeled.
Cosmo, 17 must-haves for air travel.
Yeah. It's insane how much she has packed in this bag. And it's all pre-packaged in little clear Ziploc containers and 7-ounce bottles. And it's TSA perfection. And then never went through any TSA. So it was kind of a waste. And it does humor you a little that she put in all that effort to be clear packaging, clear bottles in the right proportions, and didn't need any of it.
Okay, well then the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap seats, the one I was sitting next to her to the one opposite me, so that I have a view down the aisle towards the back of the plane and the curtain. And I'm just going to be watching.
Certainly. So after about 30 minutes, you see Jasmine emerge with the stewardess, and the stewardess and her having a nice light jaunt conversation. Jasmine looks relaxed. She looks very comfortable, even charismatic. Like she has had like a weight lifted off her of her anxiety. She comes back and her and the stewardess are laughing. Oh, yes, I understand. I do. I appreciate everything you've done. It's been a pleasure. And she takes a seat down and Jasmine looks and she's like, she is absolutely delightful.
Well, you guys was back there forever. Jeez, what's going on?
Oh, well, a bit of this, a bit of that, a little girl talk, but yeah, it's all well and good. She was able to show me the parachutes, had a great time of it. We chatted a little bit about working women in the workforce, and you see her very kind of haphazardly push all of her things that she had so neatly kind of to the side, and she like picks up her drink and swirls it and takes a sip. She's like, I don't believe that you've told me anything about your work. Make me a psychology roll before you start.
Gladly. That's an extreme success. A 2 under 24.
So either Jasmine has had some sort of severe shift in mental attitude to the point where her inflection of her voice is different, her body language is different, like she's giving you coy smiles, or like she has had a nervous break. It's one or the other. She's either been so well comforted or she has broken. But there is something distinctly off from what you saw a mere 30 minutes prior. Because you guys are about 4 hours into this plane trip now. And you have not seen her this calm or relaxed or even this, I don't want to say sultry, but she's a little...
How you thought?
She's a little cheeky with you, She's, resting up on the table and giving you little smiles and swirling her drink and trying to make conversation. She hasn't tripped over a word. She hasn't shook. The careful pre-planned stuff is all tossed aside. This is a whole new woman that has come and is ready to make very nice conversation with you.
I'm a New York City police detective. Just a simple living, protect and serve. That's me. So, I never get to be on, anything like this. Like I say, what are we at? 50,000 feet over nothing but ocean, nothing but some plastic and some metal between us, and a crazy drop into the fathomless depths. And I'm just spinning up all the things that I said earlier that got her in a tizzy, and I'm watching her reaction.
As you're saying that, she kind of reaches over and like backhandedly like flips back up the thing. She's like, but the ocean is a beautiful shade of blue. It's just, have you looked out? I mean, it's gorgeous. Do you think we could see dolphins if we looked long enough? And then you see her kind of look over your shoulder at Evan, who is not directly behind you, but basically in the same seat you are. And she kind of looks over and gives him a little once up, once down, and then kind of settles back down in her seat and looks back at you. She's like, I just think it'd be super cute. And then she kind of looks over at you, Bernard, and she does a little finger wave towards you.
Well, harumph. Well, I must. Well, geez, you're so much calmer than you were just a few minutes ago. But you didn't tell me much about what you did. Just secretary. What was the name of the place you worked at?
A business law firm, Jackson and Sachs. It's all very dry and boring, but we're not here for work, are we? We are here for Morocco. And like she is having like a little swagger to it, and she's like, I have not had a chance to talk with any of the other passengers, and I don't want to give you the cold shoulder because you have been a delight. But I just want a chance to meet everybody because we're going to be spending like this week kind of near each other, and I'd like to make some new friends.
Absolutely. And I'll stand up as if like my knees were going to get in her way, but I know this plane is so spacious that not. But it offered my hand to her to help her up out of her seat. And when I help her up, I want to do a couple of things. Back to police training, right? I'm looking at flush skin, eye dilation. I'm feeling the warmth, maybe even trying to get a finger or two on the wrist pulse. I'm suspecting that she's under the influence of some substance. I've seen her take a mere sip so far of her whiskey.
I got you.
So, you know, all the things they taught me about how to see when somebody's under the influence of drugs or alcohol, I'm applying those as I kind of help her out into the aisle.
So you have a choice of either making a spot hidden or some kind of medicine, first aid. I'd take arguments for other things as well. If you have something.
I think I'll just do the spot hidden.
Okay.
An extreme success, 7 under 65.
Certainly. So, you kind of start with the eyes and kind of work your way down. Her pupils do seem a little...
Pupils?
The pupils do seem mildly dilated. It could be from the change in lighting from the stewardess closet to here. They're not blown out by any means, but they are a little more dilated than you would anticipate for an average person. Her skin has a good color to it. She doesn't seem to be sweating profusely. She doesn't have any flushing going on, no redness or whatever. She's not shaking as you move down her body. There's no visual tremors or anything like that. You do manage to put 1 or 2 fingers on her wrist to check her pulse, and her pulse is fast. It's faster than you would anticipate anybody's resting heartbeat to be. It's not, like nearing a cardiac event fast, but it's thumping along pretty well. And it to you, it kind of concurs with the dilated pupils that she is having some sort of extreme, high, I don't want to say high, but like a up. You take uppers and downers. She's kind of having this upswing where her blood is pumping and she's invigorated almost. And her eyes are kind of dilated in that vigor.
The rapid speech, the dilation, and the pulse. I'm thinking back to the academy days. Telltale signs of amphetamine use.
Mm-hmm. So for you, those all are telltale signs of some sort of amphetamine use. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she gladly, takes your hand and gives you a little smile. And she's like, such a gentleman. And then she kind of walks around you, and in a very odd display, as she approaches you, she kind of takes one arm and puts it on your shoulder and kind of goes around towards almost the back of your neck. It's almost like putting her arm all the way around you, but it's kind of just more of a, how we doing, boys? And she's like, I don't think we ever got a chance to really chat. Bernard, they tell me that you're a writer. That's so exciting.
I'm not a writer. I'm a professor.
Oh, but didn't you write that book? Didn't I hear that? Did I mishear that, Nathaniel?
No, he wrote the book. Look, his picture's on the back.
I wrote that one book, but
that is so thrilling.
I'm an archaeologist and a teacher. I'm not really an author, per se.
She kind of turns her body to face you and kind of props one leg up onto the table, kind of, half sitting on it, but not putting her full weight on it, just kind of leaning against the table. She's like, so what got you into archaeology? I'm sure it's very thrilling getting to find all these ancient artifacts, but please tell me, how did you get there?
Well, I went on a plane to Panama and liked some of the scenery, so I started studying it. And
that is absolutely just amazing backstory. I love it. And then she kind of turns to Alfred and she's like, so Alfred, what do you do? And Alfred's like, well, I'm a professor as well, but I teach mathematics. It's nothing fancy, and she's like, oh, mathematics, you must be very smart. And you can see that she's doing this weird, it's not flirting, but it's definitely, but it comes off as, you ever meet those women who flirt for the sake of conversation starters with no intention of
all my freaking life.
But it seems like she's trying to use some kind of feminine wile to break the ice.
Gotcha.
And a little too much touching, touching of hands, a little too much. And she talks to Leslie, and Leslie is just not, he's a very quiet man. He just looks at her, he's like, I work in stocks. And she reaches out for him, and he kind of just shifts himself back. He's like, yeah, don't do that. And she's like, hard to get. And then moves over to Evan. Evan is eating it up. Evan thinks that he is, shit on a shingle at this point. He is jiving with this girl. He's like, yeah, I'm in a fraternity. I play football. And she's like, football? He's like, yeah, I'm a quarterback. third string. She's like, oh, wow. Like, they're having this moment. To the point that, Alfred, I think you get a little uncomfortable by how much, because right now her entire body is like on the table nearly, like she's sitting on the table in front of you. And there's a full quad of chairs completely empty. And you've, made it clear that you don't want to converse. And I think you would just, if it's okay, kind of get up and remove yourself from whatever this woman is bringing to your otherwise quiet table.
Sure.
Yeah. So you move to the quad to be away. Do you follow?
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys are now sitting a couple feet away in this other quad of tables. And you can hear her over there just really zhuzhing it up. And Alfred is beginning to actually kind of get into it. He's like, well, math is a tough subject, And she's like, I'm sure it is. Like, it's sickening almost.
Hey, Professor, I don't know if you noticed, but Tennessee's acted considerably different since her trip to the back.
I did notice.
Yeah, she said the stewardess showed her the parachutes and everything was on the up and up, but, geez, I'm looking at her and I'm wondering if, I don't know, there's a complete change of behavior and demeanor. If I didn't know better, I'd say, they'd done a couple of lines of coke back there or something.
You think?
No, that's what all my police training is telling me. Her eyes are a little bit dilated. You've seen how much faster she's talking. Having to notice her pulse has risen a little bit. Considerably different than... the change in behavior alone's stark. It's a Stark.
Tony Stark.
He built it in a cave with a box of scraps.
He built it in a cave. That goddamn box of scraps.
Look, I don't know if I can believe her about the parachutes. I'm thinking stewardess did something to her back there. This is totally out of character. Not that I, have a long database of information about her prior to this, but it's only been a couple hours. But
they wouldn't let you back there earlier, would they?
No, she wouldn't.
We could go force our way in there.
She's that stewardess. She means business. You know what the pilot said. She was the boss, right? Maybe a distraction.
What kind of distraction are you thinking?
Get her busy up towards the front of the plane, and then one of us can slip to the back of the plane. Like, I don't know. What if? She already thinks I'm pushy, right? So why don't I go to the front of the plane and knock on the pilot's door, saying, "Hey, I'd like to have a tour of the cabin." Which was expressly told not to do.
And I would expressly like to. Because all the flicky and clicky bits are all in there.
And so then I'm thinking, stewardess Ratchet back there, she comes running up there to get me back in my seat. I tie her up there for a little bit, figuratively speaking, and you just slip back there and take a peek behind that curtain.
Okay. I don't know how stealthy I can be, and...
I think I can make it so that you don't have to be real stealthy at all.
Okay.
I think I can be obnoxious enough that stealth is not an issue.
It's kind of my wheelhouse.
See, this wheel is in this house. All right. So you guys are going to, if I understand this right, you're going to go to the front of the cabin, knock on the door, and try to get into the cabin with the pilot.
I am obnoxious, but not without foreplay. I'm going to... drawers, cabinets, switches, things all around in that little galley area up there. And then eventually, without knocking, first just turn the doorknob to what I know to be a locked door from hearing it locked before. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
With the hope that it will bring her to you so that you may slip behind her into the cordoned off room. Yep. Okay. Tell me how you're doing this so I can kind of gauge the responses you'll get.
Yeah, so I'm going to get up. I'm telling you what, this is just a brand new plane. And nobody's been on this plane but us. This is pretty awesome. Now, that's the kind of contest you want to win. I mean, just look at all of this stuff. And I'm walking towards the front. And there's galley up here, not a speck of dust anywhere you wouldn't expect it. And look at it, you open up this cabinet where they hang their coats and there's nothing in it. And you pull out this drawer where they probably keep things like, I don't know, cold compresses for people who got headaches. And it's empty. And being loud. And but I'm not doing it Karen-y. I'm doing it like, look how new this plane is. And I'm opening everything. And look up here, man. Not a speck of dust. Look, I wish I had a white glove. Absolutely clean up there. And I bet it looks crazy cool in the pilot's compartment, too. And I turn the door. Damn, it's locked. Hey, man, let me take a look in there. This is a cool new plane.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in there, I stopped sounding New York and started sounding like, some beach bum. But
yeah, but say Cheech and Chong got in there a little bit.
My bad.
It's fine. So I'm gonna give you a rundown of kind of what you do see. So you're right. You open you do see, do. So you open the first big cabinet, empty. You do open a drawer, and there is a box labeled first aid kit. But as you say, and this is where they keep the cold compresses. You pick up the first aid kit, and you can tell immediately empty. Like this white box with a handle, empty. Nothing in it. And you put it back down and you're like, yep, that's where they'd keep them if they had them, and slam it shut and go on to the next one. Next one is honestly like some kind of server board computer piece. And I think when you open that one, you see that actually like, maybe don't make note of that and shut that one and and you keep going. And about the time that you're reaching for the door handle, you hear the telltale sign of the stewardess coming that you have learned, which is the sound of the rings of the curtain slamming open and slamming shut, and her coming up. Sir, I really must insist that you, and she's trying to talk, and you're just talking over her. You're just like, and you go to open it and banging on the door, and you hear a buzz on the stewardess at her waist. There seems to be some sort of like radio or pager, and the sound of the captain coming over and saying, would you mind? And she's like, she doesn't even answer it. She's just like, sir, you need to come back to your seat. And she starts doing the customer service, Karen, like, ma'am, I really need you to settle down, like trying to get you done. And at this point, you have what is essentially free reign of the back half of this cabinet because he is making enough noise and commotion. She is not looking anywhere at you.
As soon as she passes me, I'm moving to the back.
Okay. So, like I said, the back has a blue curtain that's drawn that she has shut behind her. But it's not sealed in any way. It's just, you can throw it open. And inside is a long cabinet with different accoutrements for, eating and drinking and things like that. Glass cabinets on top full of cups and sodas and snacks and things like that, and then a large glass cabinet on the bottom that has some blankets and some pillows. It's not overly stuffed. There seems to be about 4 to 5 of each. And maybe 1 or 2 fold-down seats for the stewardess, but not really much else. Unless you want to make a spot hidden to kind of dig deeper and...
Sure. 78. Okay. So that's a fail.
So you do open like the bottom cabinets where the blankets and pillows are and kind of move them aside, and it's a pretty solid bag. Like there's nothing back there. It's just pillows and blankets. And in fact, there's not even like little particulates of dust on these cabinets. Like they are just pristine, brand new. Nothing used or outdated about them at all. All the pillows are pressed and clean. They almost look like they're fresh out the cellophane bag. But you don't find anything out of the ordinary. The only thing out of the ordinary is that you're not finding anything. Anything that you were told to believe that they were back there. Parachutes, flares, first aid kits, any other emergency supplies, inflatable rafts. There isn't even room back here for that kind of stuff. The areas, and you just know, being an intelligent man, that the room you would need to store parachutes for enough people on this plane right now would have to use all the cabinetry that's available in the actual main compartment. There's not enough room in here with all the other stuff to store any of that.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to do before exiting back to the main compartment?
Grab some nuts.
He just takes all the nuts.
Low sodium.
Okay. As you exit the steward's thing and kind of close the curtain quietly behind you, what does he see you and the stewardess doing?
Oh, she is like trying to do that customer service shuffle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like putting her arm around me and trying to guide me one way. And every time she does, I reach over her arm and look, you can tell that this cabinet has never been opened before. Listen to this. Click, look at that. And how stiff all of these what do you call those joints that work at door?
Hinges?
Hinge. Look how stiff all these hinges are. And, so I'm constantly reaching around her to another little piece of this thing. And then knocking on the door. Oh, come on, Captain, just a quick look in there.
Yeah, and about the time that you see that Bernard has made it back to his seat at the empty quad, and all the other passengers at the beginning weren't paying you much attention, but now that it's turned into kind of a hubbub, they've all kind of stopped, and you can see Jasmine is kind of giggling. Like, she thinks that he's so funny. Like, look, he's so excited. Like, and Evan is like, yeah, and Leslie's like, and then goes back to his phone like he is not interested in you.
So the minute I see Bernard back in his seat, then I'm going to go, you're right, maybe an in-flight movie? And start walking back to my...
But before you get to walk away, the door to the captain's quarters does open. And the captain, who stands a few inches taller than you and a little broader than you, steps out. And he says, that's enough. Get back to your seat. The stewardess should not have to tell you twice. And you turn back to the stewardess, and she's got the ever-pleasant smile of somebody who has just outgunned you, basically. Pulled the trump card of big strong man has come out and is telling you forcefully to get to your seat. And you can very peacefully walk past her, and she'll do the very stewardess, little hand movement to your seat, ushering you back to your seat with Bernard at the quad.
I'll sit across from him.
After everything's settled down, she does return back to her galley.
I couldn't find anything. There's not really room to have anything back there either.
So, no parachutes?
Mm-mm.
Jeez. No flares?
Nope.
What about, did you see any first aid kits? I found one. It was empty.
Just pillows and blankets and food.
Why? Look, they could have put us on, coach fare on a huge airline and sent us over there cheaply as possible. Why go to all of this trouble to make it look so fancy and expensive if this plane wasn't ready to go?
Don't know.
I don't know either, but let's hope this pilot knows what he's doing, because if we get in any trouble, there's not going to be anything to do. I bet the seat cushions don't even work as flotation devices.
Would you like to check?
I think I would.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, these seats do not dismantle in any fashion.
Son of a...
So you guys sit there for 30, 45 minutes talking about your different theories as to why we wouldn't have basic safety supplies. Why this plane seems new with all these nice fineries, but they're not nice. They're middle of the road at best. Why go to all the pretense, but not put any of the actual important stuff on the plane? And you guys are talking and chatting. You can hear the other quad table. At this point, Alfred and Leslie have completely tuned out because Evan and Jasmine are just, they're talking about things. They're not very far apart in age. Then you can definitely hear that Evan's trying to build up to the inevitable, hey, you want to, when we get to Morocco, you want to go hit up a beach, you can hear he's kind of getting himself up to that point with her. So at this point, you guys have been on the plane for 5 to 6 hours. It's beginning to get kind of late in the evening outside. The sun has begun to set. Water's gone kind of that dark, no lights around. You're in the middle of the ocean, no land to be seen anywhere. But you know that you're over halfway there at this point. You've got about 3 hours, maybe 4 tops, before you're supposed to reach your destination. The stewardess comes out and offers these nice warm pillows and blankets to anybody, because it is getting kind of dark, in case anybody wants to settle in for the last couple hours and take a little nap. And she offers them to you. You can take them if you so choose. Alfred takes his share of both and asks for, like a cup of hot tea. Leslie just shrugs off, nothing to be had from Leslie. And she says, okay, well, I appreciate everything. If there's nothing else you'll need, I'll probably be spending the remainder of my time, but please use your call button should you need anything. And she looks directly at you. This is very pointedly, do not come back to my curtain, use your call button. And heads back to...
And I'm going to let her get two steps away and do the Columbo thing again. Oh, just one more thing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to reach into my jacket pocket and pull out a little spiral-bound flip at the top notebook that, cops use. I don't think I ever caught your full name.
Well, that is a thing I have. I have one of those.
It's a girl's name,
It's a girl's name, too. Jane Langsdale.
Jane Langsdale. Spelled just like it sounds?
Yes, Langsdal. Langsdale.
Langsdale. And do you have like an employee number or something, Miss Langsdale?
No, I'm privately employed with the owner of the plane. Thank you.
Okay. And who is the owner of this plane?
Oh, certainly. So that is, that's a name I also have. If I can remember where I put it. Nafram Corp. Nafran. Nafran.
Nafran Corp. And I tried to take a look at his nameplate. What is the pilot's name, please?
Oh, the pilot's name is Sidney Buckner.
Good old Sid. Okay, thank you. And can you tell me, since it's a private plane, then no contracting company was used for provisioning the plane before flight? It's all done in-house by Nafran Corp?
As far as I'm aware, sir.
Okay, I'm just making some quick notes because, it appears that some of the things that you told us were available for safety measures are not. And, when I invariably have to make a complaint or report to, the Nafran Corp, and, maybe, we're in international waters. I guess Interpol would be the people, about the lack of the required safety equipment upon this plane. I wanted to make sure that I got this. So it was LANGSDEL?
DALE.
Ah, thanks. That's going to be important. Thank you, Miss Langsdale.
You're welcome, Mr. Young. And very unperturbed, walks to the back of the plane.
Damn it, I was going for perturbed.
And shuts the
Curtain.
I don't know why I'm struggling with the word curtain today.
I had a hard time with hinge. So.
After several minutes, you feel a little bit of light turbulence. Nothing major. These are things you would normally expect with a plane. You see that Jasmine doesn't even really acknowledge the turbulence. You see Alfred kind of have a moment of, and then as it settles out, he's like, "Oh, it's fine." But very shortly after, you see the pilot come from the front, and he's walking towards the back of the plane, beginning to fiddle with his belt buckle, obviously headed to the laboratory. And he takes a turn into the laboratory.
Jesus, flying the plane.
And as he's passing you, he just kind of over shoulder autopilot and
what's the autopilot's name?
go fuck yourself. No, he definitely completely ignores you, and turns into the laboratory. He is in there for quite a while, and as he comes out, he hooks a left and goes into the stewardess area. And after maybe 5 or 10 minutes, before I tell you, actually go ahead and both make me dexterity rolls.
Dex. Holy shit. I failed at a 56 over 40, and I would buy that down, but that would take half of the luck that I have.
72 against a 55.
Okay. So hold on to those. So you both failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to those. So the pilot hooks a left out of the bathroom and into the curtained area. And he
Mile
spends,
High Club.
he spends about 5 minutes back there before you feel extreme decompression of your cabin. And you have a slight moment of looking around where you do see the pilot and the stewardess parachuting out the back of the plane as the plane begins to barrel roll towards the water. Both of you are unable to buckle your seatbelts as the plane begins to throw you around the cabin. However, I will give you both an opportunity to make me a spot hidden. On a hard success, I will tell you what you see. Anything less than a hard success, you see your face hitting paneling.
I'm checking it first to see if I've got a pilot skill.
73 against a 69.
Nice.
Nice.
You want to buy that now? No, it's you got to get it buy it to hard.
I could.
I bought it to hard. Spot hidden, right?
Yes.
That's a 70 against a 65 fail.
Okay. So, you guys are being thrown against different chairs and paneling. You begin to hear cries and shrieks of the people around you.
How's Tennessee acting? Is she still all bubbly and cool with everything?
So for the first few seconds, she does giggle. And then begins to realize it's a little more imminent than she begins to take. But she never quite shows the level of hysteria that you notice in your barrel rolling that you would expect that the other ones seem to be protruding.
Does she say, well, isn't this nice?
No, she does not.
That's ironic.
It is ironic.
Isn't it?
Isn't it ironic? You do hear Leslie yell out between gasps and screams. He's the only one who's been buckled up, so he's remained in his seat.
Smart ass.
He never got up.
No.
He just stayed there. You hear him yell out, "Is that a goddamn whirlpool?" as your plane hits water. And that's where we're going to end it.
We just got sucked into the fucking depths of the ocean, and you're going to stop us there?
I am.
I love it.
I've been your keeper, Emily. We have Steve and John, and we will see you guys next time. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the YouTubes and all the cool things I'm supposed to say when we do videos.
That's really good.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.